Right, Yins guys, I'm going to do this video here, and this is another one. I can't make up my mind if I wanted to tackle this as different scenarios for like make separate videos out of them, or risk jumping to subjects and talking about them both at once. But like you got these scenarios, okay, where one of them I'm going to go ahead and talk about, and if you bear with me, jump subjects too much, confuse you where I should talk about it in a separate. You could make this into separate videos, these scenarios, but one thing that I'm going to say right off the bat, not to judge anybody if you used to take certain things here and there and cross the lines, whether it's legal or not. And where I'm going to say one of these things I stress, if you have, no matter who you are, if you have, like, say, older family members or older friends or relatives, like, say, neighbors, right? And this is a culture where you may want to watch out for some of your older family members or friends or neighbors. This is the kind of shit that goes on where, for example, you see these family members or friends, right? And there's these people that go around and just go to be friends with people just to actually get pills and get stuff. And even if you watching this dabbles in a little bit of that shit, I say this shit to make people mad because I was around this shit and it gets on my fucking nerve. I fucking hate it. I mean, I don't care what certain people do, but there's certain people that, for example, you get this, like what I'm talking about, like, all of a sudden, what's this person, like a very younger age, hanging with a certain family member of yours, right? You notice how did they even meet up with them? They just, all of a sudden, they're always over there, right? And this is one of the scenarios that I'll start out with talking, that there's a kind of a moral line going on here. Then say, maybe like you watching this, you could be concerned and say, hey, maybe you should be going there and visiting these family members a little bit more often and having some family members. They live by themselves and you figure they're okay. But if you have like I don't know, maybe they have, maybe their family's dysfunctional or something. Okay, and they're legitimately sick. Maybe they smoke marijuana, they use marijuana that's like, but yet they have pills which they have prescriptions for in an accident or different things. And you get these people that, I mean, I don't really care much for people that like be taking the shit from their relatives. And I'm actually getting into two scenarios where you also got this culture, right, that maybe some people out there have this their own family members are sick and they take pills, and they're totally all right with giving it to their family members whether they're sick or not. There's this culture now that's, I'm talking about, it's actually acceptable to, as I had these friends, they're getting all mad at me, because I'm not saying everybody's like that they're actually legitimately sick, medical marijuana, and they smoke it, and then their friends are also, the recreational, before it was legal, they have come over their house. And I could give a shit less, I'm not ready to take away, their precious dope or anything like that, but then there's these other ones that do more than that. They're hanging together just because it's some kind of moral virtue, okay, to offer up a pill or whatever. And certain people that are sick, like say maybe people like me, they let their friends take the stuff, and you occasionally get the ones that, okay, there's a culture that if they offer me, the marijuana, or offer me a pill, and I don't take it, there's this culture out there, because it's, or even like with marijuana, or some people even with a cigarette, it's considered rude, and you're some kind of asshole if you refuse it. And you look at some of these people too, yet that are actually legitimately sick. They believe in just, giving that to their friends, just to have friends. And they're totally okay with giving the prescription pills that they actually have a prescription for up to their friends. They don't even sell them. There's like this culture. They're a lot there. Just go ahead and give it. And at the same time, the ones that get mad at you for not accepting it, that there's this culture now that's, if you meet up with these people, some of them were your neighbors, some live down the street, and you refuse it, oh, it's like the new normal. You're some kind of asshole. Like, what's wrong with you? You're high and mighty and all that. But at the same time, these people that have this shit legitimately, right, with prescriptions, they're letting all their friends take it. I mean, they see whatever company you have. I want to say whatever company in our area. I don't know how big the business is. It's called MedFast. There's the different people that have the deliveries. Distribute your prescriptions right to the door. And these people have these friends, in these little communities. That's why I'm calling this gang stalking a little bit, because different scenarios where you're being gang stalked, whether you're in the culture or you're not even in the culture. What these people do in a culture, they're looking out the windows. They know the time that so-and-so gets their prescriptions, right? And they're all a bunch of fucking freeloaders. And soon as that car comes to deliver it, they're right over that house. And maybe people like a small percent, like people like me, will be looking at them like, hey, you gonna let your friends take advantage of you like that? And the reason why I'm saying this, if you got this far in this video, okay, for example, they're okay with letting their friends do that, and I'm calling it letting their friends take advantage of you, taking advantage of them, right? All the shit they get is gone that they have. I'm talking about the separate from the being acceptable. They can go ahead and sell some of it, or even if they're even on legitimately prescription on antidepressants and different things. Some of them go and sell it, but then there are the other ones. It's a virtue to give it for free. Okay, they need it. It's all fucking gone. Especially a pain medication. If you're actually in pain, and there's this other scenario, right? I'm saying that let people have the marijuana as opposed to pills, because you got to keep taking pain pills all your life. Not the disease that's probably killing them, or whatever injury that's killing them. The pills are fucking up your liver and your kidneys and your everything else. But yet they have a prescription for the pills, right? They're all gone. And what do? Even though they have a legitimate prescription, they're fucking going out somewhere when their disability check comes, right? And they're fucking risking, getting in trouble, like, you got undercover people now anymore with that crackdown, where there's a scenario where they could get themselves arrested and then buying the shit illegally or getting their disability check. They need it because they're actually the ones that are actually in pain, right? And then in the same scenario, these people that do this shit, part of them sometimes, I don't know whether they're high, whether you be this friend, right? And they're complaining to you. I mean, oh, geez, I need to. And I'm like, part of them, you'll see a little hint of, they defend these friends, but then you'll see a little hint of, oh, man, I wish that they were in better health and they didn't have to do this. And they know in their heart that people are fucking using each other, okay? You know what I mean? And at the same time, these people, you see what the hell they're doing, they think it's acceptable to just offer it up liberally, you know what I mean? Not even try to sell you it. But then some people, like a little bit of the time later, who knows? But, it depends where you're at. Yet you're still the asshole. They still put these people, like you get different ones. I don't say everybody that's sick is like us, but even though they got people fucking taking advantage of them, right? They actually consider these people freaking normal, and then you like see, they believe in just letting them have it. It's like, and then what it is the culture is these people get together. They have these their little communities. How people talk about different kind of people talk about gang stalking. You know, some of them, you know, it can be their gang stalk because they're smoking a simple joint. It's getting legal now, but well, there's a dynamic too, or some people smokes a joint occasionally. Okay, if you're watching this, maybe you're more where I am on this now. I mean, there's some shit that ain't damn right, and if you there's a scenario where some of these people that I'm talking about are legitimately sick. I'm not saying they're bad people. Oh, and there's this code. You're not allowed to say anything that I'm talking about pointed out, or else you're unsympathetic, you're insensitive, you don't care that they're sick. I mean, the very fact that, say, there's this culture now that everybody is supposed to be sick, or you don't care about if they're sick. You know, they want to introduce everything recreation now and make it okay. And common person out there, you're too high and mighty. If somebody that's sick out there, they are okay with giving that their friends. And if you refuse it, oh, I don't do that shit, because you know what? Some days I'm making more money, and then I could get laid off. I could wind up in some other line of work. And my priority first may be buying myself a meal and have a meal out, pizzas. That's the first thing I go for. And maybe I want to leave the waiter or waitress a tip or something, and maybe a place that's a restaurant and bar or something that serves food and beer. The first thing I fucking go for is food. Then maybe CDs and DVDs. So, but then the other cultures now that are getting more prevalent, you can see it even in their physical stature when they're not sick. Just people that just work a job out there, right? And the first thing, number one priority is, even if it's marijuana, nothing else, that excuse me, and beer, and then food being last. So you get these people that they're not exactly sick like these other people I'm talking about, but they get sick later in life because, I mean, last on the priority list, you know what I mean? You see some of them, they're like in these landscaping jobs, some of them I'm in, and they're in these groups, and some of them got tattoos, some of them don't, but they got these real bony chest, skinny arms, and they're out there, you know, and no shirts, totally shirtless, and actually all hang together and act badass and super cool or whatever, and numbers, and they all like, so like you got these people that bust their ass out in the sun, okay, that are also in this culture, in these places, workforce places that I used to be in. I'm looked at like I'm crazy and all that stuff too, and because I'm not a part of that, you know, everything I do is totally like, oh, that's like wrong, because there's actually another strongman culture that's you know, the bullying and the like, what do you call it, that's on the sidelines in a discreet sense in some neighborhoods, that if need be, there's a enforcing and bullying class that they actually have some muscle development going on, along with tattoos, that they if you're dumb enough to just unwarrantedly provoke them, or I can understand, but in some cases, if you walk around with too much of a chip and they point you out, they bring one of them around and preach their stuff to you like it's there's nothing like you're a person with the problem that ain't buying the shit like anybody. Well, passive aggressively telling you how it is, you know what I mean? Unlike the thug culture, like maybe in the bigger cities, if you're not with these people in whole blocks, that the whole blocks are buying some kind of pills, whether they're sick or not sick. Everybody is. You can actually get beat up or even shot. You get people like in my area, they're just passive aggressive. You know what I mean? But like I remember, like going to look for jobs, like this is a bunch of years ago, and you eventually find some jobs somewhere, either personnel services or you have some job that lasts a year or two somewhere. But I remember applying for this landscaping job, and it was actually for some golf course or something. And the office was in this little trailer, right? And I go in there, and even like say the supervisor, he, a little scraggy looking, got these, these tattoos or whatever. And everybody in the lunchroom, they got the little lunchroom in the trailer. They got all eyes are on you, right away. They're checking you out, I mean, I'm just wearing a wife beater, and my stature is a little different. They all got these bony chests out there, tans, and real skinny arms, and they got these scraggly looking things going on. And then the supervisor is like one of them, he's trying cordial, can I like help you, whatever, and I'm applying for that. You can tell by the look on their face, everybody's face in a small, unlike a more professional office getting a job, they're going to look at you different. That you're not going to do an application and humor it. At the time, I was living in a second floor of a parents' house, big ass house, and before it didn't work out, and I was driving the car to go up and get this job. But anyway, I could tell by the look on the face. I did the quick application, and the whole looks on their faces. I've seen some of them just coming out there from running the tractors and all that, but I can tell anyway in a group. This is actually a clique that's in that culture. That's you get whole groups that are just doing landscaping jobs that are all this culture, and you can work next to them as long as, hey, I have my life, you have yours, and some of you can actually work in some of these places and get along. But then I worked out little assignments here and there for this agency. You'll get those once in a while. But anyway, you can tell right away that the minute I walk out of there after the little application, right, this is the kind of supervisor that would, as soon as I walk out the door and look, what do you, sarcastically, they already got their answer. Yeah, what do you guys think? Hire them, and they'd probably be saying it sarcastically, and then they don't go like this. Boo, no. You can see that scenario right there. I mean, whole culture and that. They all believe in sharing pills, and everybody should be. That's the kind of shit that, like, live and let live, do what you will. But you can tell right away that there's gang stalking within gang stalking. Some people, maybe among that crowd I was just talking about, or a little bit of people that actually do this stuff. Some of them have a better moral line. I says, hey, wait a minute. And then some of them are just probably getting the shit from their own relatives, and they know what's wrong, and they they're letting their friends take the shit too, because and they do the same thing, and they kind of, maybe some of them say in their own mind, maybe this is a little going too far, but they don't want to say shit about it because they're doing it too, and they're going to point that out. So best not to be involved in that at all. And you get these bunch of people that, my point to all of this too is, you see some of the people, you're going to walk into a workplace like this to try to get a job, and before you even apply for the job you go into, it could be one of these places, right? And they're all checking you out, looking at it. Some of them are factories. You can see some of them, a whole clique of them in factories, some places, right? And some people in a little bit of construction hand, and then you end up being better with the shovel than they are too, and then you're looked at wrong or whatever. But they're good. Actually, you're supposed to feel something, feel some kind of guilt, or you're some kind of asshole. They're looking at you like, oh, you're supposed to hang your head in shame. Something's wrong with you. And then you're looking at these people in your own mind like, but yet there are the people, for example, if you were in my situation and you were one of them, perfectly nice house Christian types, which some of them that might be nice people, right? You go walk in one of these places, you might actually feel a little intimidated, because there might be heckling going on, because these people can read on you that unless you're one of them athletic Christians or whatever, or if you're a secular moralist that whether you like me or not, some other people, that you're out of certain kind of a thing, and feel that you're going to be belittled because all what's actually becoming acceptable in culture. And I mean, if you have anything in you where you're a little, what do you want to call it, too domesticated, where they can sense on you that, heck, or if you're a woman walking in there, especially a woman too, that's not in that culture, you can easily feel uneasy and intimidated. And that's what a part of this culture wants too. And you could make a separate video on this if you're a girl or a woman, that you can be right in where this culture is, and then women can be intimidated into this culture, or you're ridiculed for not being in this culture, because what this video was all about too, because there's some of this shit going on that, like, say you watch this, you can have when I'm talking about this older relative, going back to what I started saying in this video, it can be your grandmother that's legitimately sick, right? And I'm trying to say what's fucked up about this culture here. It's gang stalking in it too. And some of you might get pissed off that because you're dabble in this culture, and maybe you have, hopefully some of you see, if you're into this a little bit, even a little bit, and don't bother anybody, you can see certain shit that's wrong, but you're not allowed to say anything because you can become they're afraid you're going to be a rat, or you're on the side of the police. There's a fucking difference between being on the side of the fucking police and just total unrestrained, just there. It's a mixture of taking advantage and allowing somebody to take. It's a secular humbleness, this other than Christianity. Which side are you going to let humble you down and take advantage of you? You're supposed to let people take advantage of you, but yet you're supposed to get a bunch of people together. You're supposed to be in this crowd trying to get together enough money put together for maybe pills, joints, cigarettes. And if you don't roll that way in your life, and maybe even if you hold the job for a while and you want to spend your money first on maybe grab a pizza, spend it all on fucking pizza, or a restaurant, somewhere in a restaurant, DVD, or you do other kind of things to physically better yourself. Oh, you're some kind of, you don't care about the sick. Everything you do hurts their feelings, and you have no regard for the sick. You're so high and mighty. And matter of fact, in that culture too, since antidepressants are very prevalent, the simple, even if you feel at all depressed, you can just get that like nothing. You got too much energy, you're doing the, I don't know, everything from silly exercise, or some women in dance class. Yes, part of me has to stick up for a part of the snooty dance class people too. I'm trying to make my point. You can be anything you do that's apart from that culture is just like you're high and mighty. And matter of fact, it's in that culture, it's also considered a hyperactivity disorder. You should a little pot or a little. You should be taking a Prozac or Ritalin. You even get told that. I mean, I had remarks in some factory I was working in. One person talking about that. Oh, you think of taking any meds? And then he happens to be some dude that happens to be more built to me. Happens to be kind of like a football player or whatever too. And his you get a white guy like us and a black guy like this. They're more built than you. But it's actually something I talk about later too. It's dovetails in with the designated strongmen. They're more built than you. Who are you? You should be taking some kind of meds. You should be taking drugs, and to keep yourself down. And the people that come to you and say shit like this and talk down to you that are more built than you, you can bet that some of them, they got the nice houses, nice cars. They're purveyors and encouragers. Even if they're not outright dealers, they maybe sell a little bit. Some of them might live a little like yuppies too. There's this thing where they're the intellectual and even physical bullying class. The passive aggressive bullying, intimidating class. There's some kind of people that can decide. And they see what you choose to do, and they ain't doing shit about it, because it's not like it's some big gangland city where they're going to get the big bully with the tattoos to go and beat the shit out of you because you refuse to buy some drugs. It's done differently, passive aggressively. They'll make little remarks or whatever, too, and some of them are too civilized to outright in front of everybody get into some physical conversation, but they have some indication that make you say shit, make you feel like if you don't, get smart, that you can get beat up, and you kind of smile at them. But a more discreet, these are the kind of the, they can be the enforcing class or whatever too, and maybe in the shadows somewhere they may even be the enforcing class in the sense that go have somebody beat up for if they didn't, if they're kind of late on some kind of drug debt or something. It's another culture that's not quite gangland, but it's in factors an intellectually intimidating culture. You know what I mean? They see that you go a different way, and they're the ones that they're not the gangland intimidating like the bigger bullies, but they're the ones that will be vocally passive aggressively against you because they would be, not that they're going to be, or they're the would be, or they're the would if I could, or the would if I could get away with it enforcing class, but instead they kind of want to say some little things and remind you where you're at, or even say some kind of shit like they'll say shit to you that they know you ain't gonna do shit. They know they ain't gonna do shit because, and it indicated that somebody might get fired because even if they started it, in actual altercation, they got all the friends that, hey, maybe they smoke a bunch of pot together. They brag about it too, and you know what? You're not in this clique, so your ass would be fired for starting it. You know what I mean? So you get shit like that going on. But I can go on about that. You know what I mean? It's reason why it ends up jumping subject, because what I'm trying to say, it's not just in the workplace. It starts out as it's in all these phases. I mean, you can can be in your town, and then when you go to a workplace that ain't too far away, it's there. And a lot of these people know each other and they fucking condone it. And some secretly may have some moral lines and they don't want to say shit about it because their friends are going to call them rats, and they're like, and I'm just like, and then if you're one of them people that like walk around with a chip on your shoulder, a cocky look on your face, and like walk around with a cocky look on your face, you don't care what they do. Walk around with this cocky look on your face and your head too high, you get some heckling, just like in the factories or out there in the street, where no threaten outright say and heckling to you, say they're so-and-so. The common thing that they do is start talking to each other real loud like they're talking about somebody else, but to send you a message, like, how people do that shit in lunchrooms too, and that they do it in lunchrooms. Say if they don't directly, say some kind of thing to make fun or sarcastically to you, they love to play that game where they talking to each other, and it's all like describing you, but they're talking about somebody else, and then you kind of counter that by you can jump into conversation, say yeah, and go into the conversation just to talk about somebody else too, and send it back at them, like maybe pick one particular person that's saying it, and shit that they're all about. You go and you make a conversation. You act like you don't care and you don't know, and you join in the conversation, and you send it right back at them by, oh yeah, I know somebody that, oh yeah, this motherfucker, oh, you get the idea.